As we continue to talk about Project Generosity, three more stories come to mind that I'd like to share with you today. First of all, Artasia. Artasia is part of our Northpoint family. She reached out to Pastor Brad a few months ago and texted him saying, I don't want to do this, but I'm very much in need. I need help. Artasia is not even 40 years old. She has experienced 2 strokes. The second one has left her with very little ability to be mobile anymore. She's a single mom and she has 2 teenage sons, and she was desperate for some help because she had no income. One of our life groups jumped in and said, hey, we know she's going to be applying for food stamps, but there's many items she can't get with food stamps that she'll need, like toiletry items, paper towels, things like that nature. And so that life group here in our church, they gathered those items and delivered them to him. She was so appreciative and was so thrilled to get them. And we also were able to help her get her utility bills. She's now been put on a program, so they're at a minimum amount monthly, so she is able to afford paying those. She is now on food stamps, and I just spoke with her this week, and unfortunately she has been declined for Social Security disability, but she is pursuing the appeal, and so we ask that you pray for Artasia that she will be able to get disability with Social Security. That's so important. One day I received a phone call from an older gentleman named Gary, and he said, I don't know where else to go. My son told me to call you. He was in danger of having really everything turned off and really losing his little apartment where he lives. So I asked Gary to come in, and he came in and he sat down and he shared his story. He had lost his wife, and the reason he was behind on his bills is he had some outstanding medical bills and funeral expenses, and he was determined in honor of his wife to pay those bills first. But unfortunately for Gary, trying to adjust living on one Social Security check, he had fallen way behind. And I wish you could have seen the look on his face when we came back, and after talking to leadership, we said, Gary, we're going to pay all your utility bills and catch them up, and we're going to take care of your rent. His mouth dropped open and he wept. He said, I miss my wife so much. And he said, I can't believe you're doing this for me. You don't even know me. But you see, that's part of Project Generosity. We may not know the individuals to start with, but we soon can create relationships with some of them as best we can. But what a blessing it was to be able to help this man, and it was such a joy to see, again, the look on his face, and as he left that day, I knew he was going to be okay. And of course, I invited him to come to Northpoint anytime he wants to stop by and see us. The last story I want to share is about Rajay. We met Rajay early January of this year. She called on a Monday morning, desperate. I couldn't hardly gather what she was saying, but I knew she was in distress. Connie was volunteering in the office with me that day, and she could catch part of the conversation. And so Connie volunteered to follow up and get all the information we needed with Rajay so we could move forward and know how to best help her. Rajay is a single mom with 6 boys. She was living in Section 8 housing here in Toledo. There was massive flooding due to pipes bursting and lost everything. She was staying at a motel. She said, I'm trying to get help for 1 more week. On a snowy Sunday, my husband and I headed out, and I went into Walmart trying to find clothing for the boys. The sales associates went around the store with me and helped me find clothes and boots that the boys needed, just the essentials. And then we went grocery shopping and picked up groceries for her. Connie has made a concerted effort to stay in touch with Rajay these past months. And it has been wonderful to see that Rajay responds. She appreciates what Northpoint was able to do for her during that crisis time in her life in January. Because Connie built a trust factor with her, Rajay was able to express some of the hurt and heartache that she's been through. The blessing, though, now is that Connie has heard back from Rajay. Rajay is in a wonderful 4-bedroom house in Columbus, and the boys' daddy is back with them, wants to be with them, and they're doing great as a family together. You never know when those phone calls come in what's going to transpire. Sometimes the needs are real, sometimes they're not as genuine as they should be, and we always ask that the Lord give us wisdom and discernment to know where the real need is.